Today my video is on the true story of the Changeling. They've made some movies about this real-life incident, but the true story is about Walter Collins, a 9-year-old American boy that disappeared in 1928. His mother, Christine Collins, searched for her son till the day she died. Walter's father was an ex-convict, a felon that had stolen many times. Walter disappeared on March 10th, 1928, after being given money by his mother to go to the movies. Initially, the police thought enemies of Walter's father had kidnapped him. However, after 5 months, the police still couldn't locate Walter and his remains, until one day a boy claiming to be Walter showed up in DeKalb, Illinois. Now I'm going to be quite clear here. I'm going to be reading from a lot of different papers I have here because I have specific footnotes that I want to share. Letters were exchanged, and Christine personally paid for the boy claiming to be Walter to be brought to Los Angeles, where she lived. The case gained national attention when Christine refused to acknowledge the boy as her son. The police officer in charge, Captain Jones, convinced her to take the boy home and see how it goes. Now, it's important to mention that in this particular police department, there was a lot of corruption. So the police captain really wasn't interested in helping the situation. He just wanted to make the police department look good, especially because of how long this case went on without any substantial leads. 3 weeks later, Christine told the police department that this boy was not her son and even had dental records to prove her point. Despite this evidence, the corrupt police captain had Christine Collins committed to a psychiatric ward under a Code 12, which is a term used to jail or commit someone that is deemed an inconvenience. Captain Jones, eventually upon questioning the boy, found out the boy was indeed an imposter. He was a 12-year-old runaway named Arthur Hutchins Jr. He lived in Iowa with his stepmother and disliked her. He had hoped to reach Hollywood so he could meet a favorite actor of his, Tom Mix. 10 days after the child imposter admitted he was not Walter, Christine was released from the psychiatric ward. Christine sued the Los Angeles Police Department and Captain Jones. Christine won and was awarded $10,800, but Captain Jones never paid her any money. It's also important to note that the police department may not have been as corrupt as some might have wanted to portray them, and why I mention this is because some of the higher-ups in the police department were staunchly against communism, which is a good thing, but it sounds like the higher-ups might have been brutal in their methods, which gave them that history of being corrupt. As time pressed on, where the case gets a little tricky, in 1929, a man named Gordon Stewart Northcott was caught by police. He was a serial killer that immigrated to America from Canada. His mother assisted in the killings, and apparently his nephew also took some part in some of these inhumane practices, supposedly out of fear for his life. Gordon Northcott kidnapped, molested, tortured, and murdered young boys at this farm. These killings became nationally known as the Wineville Chicken Coop murders. The children were kept in a chicken coop. Walter Collins was a victim of this serial killer and his family. What made this case more complicated is that after a nationwide effort to find Walter Collins, who was already murdered, the police stumbled upon a serial killer that had remains of numerous people on his property. Sarah Louise Northcott, mother of the serial killer, confessed to her part in the murders of 4 children. That included Walter Collins, a Mexican boy, and the Winslow brothers. Sarah was sentenced without trial to life imprisonment, sparing her the death penalty because she was a woman. The state did not charge Gordon Northcott with the murder of Walter, but he was found guilty on February 13, 1929 for the murders of the other 3 children. It was believed that there could have been at least 20 murder victims. Also, Gordon came to America when he was 19, so he had only been in the country for a short time when he committed all of these murders. Who knows what he did with his mother in Canada? I hope they thoroughly investigated their backgrounds back at home as well, because there's no records in anything that I could find of his background. Now, the nephew Clark was young and was lured to the farm supposedly under false pretenses, and he too was molested and threatened by Gordon Northcott. The nephew actually was placed in a group reformatory that used compassionate means to reform wayward children. That was later on. He spent only about 2 years there and was released. They said he apparently was quite the role model. After a while, Sarah Northcott decided to take back her confession and gave inconsistent statements. Christine Collins, mother of Walter, still held out hope that her son might be alive. She actually came to the prison where Gordon was being held because he had promised to give her important info, but at the last second, Gordon professed his innocence instead of coming clean. There was another false hope when Christine heard of another victim of the Gordons that had been abducted. A live of Walter never turned up, and Christine made numerous attempts to collect her court winnings from Captain Jones, including a 1941 judgment of $15,562. Christine died at the age of 75 on December 8, 1964. Gordon was executed in October of 1930 at San Quentin State Prison. Gordon's 11-year-old nephew, Sanford Clark, that was molested by Gordon, had previously actually confided to his sister Jessie during a visit he made to the ranch that he was afraid for his life and that Gordon had murdered 4 boys. Upon returning to Canada, and a week later, Jessie told authorities immigration services had some issues trying to verify some of the facts, so things were stalled. When immigration inspectors arrived at the ranch, Gordon fled and told his nephew Sanford Clark that he was in the tree line with a gun ready to kill Sanford if he revealed Gordon's whereabouts. Sanford stalled for 2 hours, and when he felt safe, he informed the authorities. Gordon and his mother actually fled to Canada before being arrested. Sanford gave eyewitness testimony about the 4 boys that were murdered, including the Mexican boy that was possibly named Alvin Gothea. Gordon had actually ordered Clark to burn the boy's head that was severed from the body in a fire pit and to smash the skull. Gordon did admit he used quicklime on the bodies. At the exact location Sanford Clark specified, the police found 3 graves which contain only parts of bodies. A few weeks prior to being arrested, Gordon and his mother had dug up the remains and taken them to an isolated area and were probably burned. Full bodies were never recovered. 51 body parts were found. The town changed their name after this fiasco from Wineville to Mira Loma due to its notorious reputation. Clark returned to Canada and died on June 20th, 1991. Sarah ended up confessing to all the murders and begging that her son be spared the death penalty. Gordon confessed to killing more than 5 boys. Then, before being extradited, Sarah retracted her statements. Sarah claims her son was abused by everyone in the family, that Gordon was an illegitimate son of an English nobleman, and that he was actually the result of incest between her husband and her own daughter. After many, many wild stories, Sarah attempted suicide, but was unsuccessful. When she heard her son was to be hung, she also wanted to be hung herself. Strange loyalty. Instead, she was paroled in 1940 and died in 1944. Gordon was hung on October 2nd, 1930 at the age of 23. So what do you think? Was there more victims? And what started Gordon and his mother on this killing spree? Let me know in the comments. Please like my videos and subscribe to my channel if you like my content. My channel, Remote-Backroad-Jungles, with a dash in between each word, and my link is www.youtube.com/@hiddenoasis-secret pathfinder. And let me know if you know any other information about this story, because a lot of people don't really pay attention to how there's a serial killer that came into this story. Some people still believe that the boy was never actually found. So let me know in the comments, and until next time, thank you, and thank you for coming to my channel, and see me next time.